Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be discussing the 2019 film Shazam. Of course, those of you who from my generation, when you think of the comic book superhero Shazam, or I should say Captain Marvel, you think of the 1970s television show of the same name. I'm talking about 1975 actually, shows Shazam, the same name. They aired on CBS on Saturday mornings for I think about like 4 or 5 years. Even though they didn't make many episodes, but they kept running the same episodes for about 4 or 5 years on CBS on Saturday mornings. So, but this is the real Captain Marvel. I know recently I reviewed the movie Captain Marvel starring Brie Larson as the title character Captain Marvel, but when you think of Captain Marvel, you think this guy. And even though in the movie he was not called Captain Marvel in the movie, and that's one of the, I guess maybe because it will confuse people with the movie with Brie Larson. But this film is another origin story film, because I recently reviewed Doctor Strange, which was a also an origin story film, superhero film, and so is this one. But this one, for some dumb reason, they never called him Captain Marvel. You never hear anybody call him Captain Marvel. You never reference Captain Marvel. You just hear the word Shazam through the whole movie. Even that, he's not even called Shazam. I mean, it's just called. That's the word he uses, or Billy Batson uses, to transform himself from a teenage, like 12, 15-year-old kid into like a 30-year-old superhero. And he says Shazam again to transform himself back into Billy Batson, but he's never called. And they made him out to be like a real silly character, really silly, incompetent superhero, flawed superhero. I mean, for some reason it worked. Or that premise worked in Spider-Man, but for Shazam, I'm talking about the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films, in terms of how, especially in the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, how he had to build into being Spider-Man. Eventually, how he got the knack of flying through the air, shooting webs and stuff. And as soon as he got the knack for it, he became, eventually within about like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, he got the knack for it. Throughout the whole movie, Captain Marvel, I'm talking about the real Captain Marvel, which Shazam is, he was having trouble throughout pretty much the whole movie, what his powers are, what he could do, what he can't do, and all that type of thing. Well, I know it's a long introduction already, but the story of Shazam is in the beginning of the film, there was this wizard, this grand wizard, who was looking for someone who was pure heart, who was really determined to carry on the legacy of having the powers of Zeus, Hercules, Mercury, some of the old Greek gods, and not be tempted by the 7 deadly sins. And they had picked out one kid who was abused by his father and his family. As a matter of fact, his father was played by the same actor who played Lionel Luthor in the Smallville television show. I forgot the guy's name. So he gets picked first in the beginning of the movie, but unfortunately he failed the test that the wizard set for him, and it comes back years later and he gets this stone from the wizard, and now he has all 7 deadly sins, and he uses it for evil purposes. And he's the one who eventually fights Captain Marvel by the end of the movie. Meanwhile, after that, this first kid failed the test, and over the years, this wizard is trying to find someone who was pure heart and stuff, and who was brave and pure heart, and all these other people, bombed out on this test, and then eventually Billy Batson, this wizard had to pick somebody, and he ends up picking Billy Batson to be Captain Marvel. So that's what eventually happens, and at first he didn't know what, and at first he stayed as Captain Marvel for a long periods of time in this movie, and he lives. Billy Batson's backstory was that he had a single. His mother was a single mother, was a teenager, but she had Billy. You know, she was like 16 years old when she gave birth to him, and he, you know, got separated from her at his county fair, and she never looked for him. And he went to foster care, and he eventually got into this foster family. It was not racial makeup of all the kids. There's some Hispanics, one was a black girl, one was a crippled kid, one was a teenage girl who was about to go to college. And so eventually all the foster kids knew that Billy Batson was this new superhero, and they didn't really have a name for him. So the whole movie, they're making all kinds of suggestions of what type of name they should call himself, but nobody said Captain Marvel. Because like I said earlier, because they weren't getting confused with the Brie Larson character, the Brie Larson movie. So they didn't even call him Shazam. They didn't really call him anything. They called him like Lightning Man or Lightning Bolt Guy, because he could fight lightning bolts from his hands and stuff. Because he's supposed to have the power of Zeus. Zeus is supposed to be as fast as Mercury. He could fly, and throughout the second half of this film, he was fighting the guy who was the little kid before in the beginning of the movie, like I said earlier, and were fighting each other through the rest of this film. I thought that was interesting, and then he was demanding that Captain. I'm going to call him Captain Marvel. I don't care. No disrespect to Brie Larson's or Brie Larson's movie, but Shazam is really Captain Marvel. And I don't care. He's really Captain Marvel. He fought him, and then the guy who was fighting Captain Marvel, wanted Captain Marvel to transfer the powers back to him by saying the magic, by saying Shazam, and he refuses to say it, and he was able to get the staff away from this guy, and he got all of his foster family to touch this pole, and all of them say, I want you to say that, this word with me. You say Shazam with me, and they all said Shazam, and they all end up getting, powers that transform into what we call the Marvel family. Like Miss Marvel, Marvel Junior, Captain Marvel Junior, or whatever the other names were. I forgot already, because 40 years ago. Or 41 years ago, there used to be a Captain Marvel cartoon they aired on NBC on Saturday mornings, and they had the whole Batson family or whatever, and I think that's where they got the inspiration for that old cartoon series that was aired on NBC back in the early 80s. So you had the whole Billy Batson's family as superheroes as well, and they all kicked, but they all saved the day pretty much. And but by the end of the movie, they didn't still didn't give Captain Marvel the name Captain Marvel at the end of this film, which is my biggest pet peeve of watching Shazam. I didn't think it was a bad. I know I'm going through this pretty quick. Say for just spent over 9 minutes now, but Shazam was not a bad movie. I think maybe I might be wrong, but I think that the guy who actually played Billy Batson in the old 1970s TV show played Santa Claus, because it was probably around Christmas time when you had the big fight scene at the end of this movie. And I think he might have been doing a cameo in this film as dressed up as Santa Claus. I think he was the one who played Billy Batson in the 1970s TV show, because I think he's still alive today. But it was cool to see, Captain Marvel as the movie, but my pet peeve is that Captain Marvel was two pet peeves. One, nobody called him Captain Marvel, and two, it plays more of a comedy than a straight origin story of a superhero. Those are my two pet peeves. They played more for comedy, especially in the first part of the film. Even when you had the big fight scene, he's like being a smart ass and acting more like a 12-year-old instead of a mature 30-year-old superhero who knows what he's doing. He knows what his powers are and stuff like that. But that does make him a little bit more flawed than let's say Superman or Batman. And even though there are a lot of Superman and Batman references in this movie, which is also kind of a little bit of a pet peeve, because I always thought that Captain Marvel was a Marvel superhero or Marvel Comics superhero and not DC. Because I think it makes more sense that Captain Marvel is more of a Marvel Comics than DC because of the name. And because I can't believe that the DC Comics would have a character named Captain Marvel is not produced by Marvel Comics. I mean, the logic behind that doesn't make sense to me. But regardless of those plot points, I think it was a very entertaining film. I recommend, especially if you haven't been as one of the little bit better superhero movies of recent years. But like I said earlier, it plays the comedy. It hypes the comedy way too much. So that's my review of the movie Shazam. Please click on the video, please rate it, please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video on your Facebook pages, and check out all my reviews and on my YouTube channel at RowdyC.com. It's all WDY, C.com. That's the homepage of Rowdy Reviewer, Chris Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.